We've been getting lots of great questions all about why aren't my tomatoes ripening? Why aren't they very sweet? And how do I save all of these? Because I'm getting bowlfuls. And so, quick tips for you, and then I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way to save your tomatoes. So the number one reason why your tomatoes aren't ripening is they just might not be getting enough sunshine. So the best thing that you can do is give your tomato plant a haircut. See all of this extra foliage? Right now it's creeping towards the end of August, and we are going to start cutting off all of this extra foliage so that, see these tomatoes in here that aren't ripe yet? We want them to get sunshine on them, especially the ones that are tucked way down in the plant. So if you have a lot of tomatoes in your plant and they're just not ripening, go ahead and cut the foliage off so that the sun is directly shining on your tomato. When the sun directly shines on the tomato, it allows it to ripen faster. Now, lots of times people say, I planted these tomatoes and they're not very sweet. You did all of that work and it's not a very sweet tomato. Some of it is variety. Yes, every tomato tastes a little bit different, but some of it has to do with how much water you're giving your tomato. Tomatoes don't need a lot of water. The tomato plant itself, I'm telling you, see this big, huge patch? We don't give it a ton of water because the roots go really, really deep. They're able to soak up tons of water from deep down in the soil. And the more water that you give it, when your tomato ripens, which yes, this one is ripe. This is the white currant. It's so sweet. It's one of our favorites. But when you give it too much water, the tomato essentially gets watered down. So if you are harvesting yours and you're thinking, it's just not so delicious, I thought they would be sweeter, start to give your tomatoes less water. Water them only every 3 days, or when you see that the leaves are starting to get a little bit wilty, that's your sign that it needs some water. Otherwise, don't water your tomato plant. It will actually thrive in that heat, and with a little less water, you'll get sweeter tomatoes. Now, a couple other things could be going on with your tomato. It could be that it needs fertilizer. Make sure you're giving it fertilizer. I'm going to put a link to the one we love down in the description below. Good fertilizer feeds your plant, makes for happier tomatoes. Now, are you ready for the absolute easiest way to save your tomatoes for the winter? When I figured this out was when we started planting more tomato plants and harvesting as much as we possibly could. First, you are going to rinse those babies off, get all the pollen off of them, and then we're going to take all the stems, any leaves. Basically, you want to get them all cleaned up. That's the hardest part of the whole thing, because then next, we're going to lay them onto a big cookie sheet, and these drained for a little bit so they don't have a bunch of water still on them. Lay them out on a big cookie sheet, all the different sizes together, any mix you want. Pop that cookie sheet into the freezer. Now you have frozen tomatoes. And the reason why I do them on the cookie sheet first is because I don't want them to go into the container or bag and get stuck together. Now these are all individual frozen tomatoes. They go straight into our storage bag. You could do it in a container, anything that fits in your freezer. And these now get to sit in the freezer all winter long until I'm ready to pull them out to make stews or sauces. Now, the great thing is I can pull out exactly what I need because they're not stuck together. They're like little tiny tomato ice cubes, and boom, that's all it takes to save them in your freezer. And you can do it with any size of tomato. Now, if you're like, I'm running out of space and I don't think I have any more space to put bags of frozen tomatoes in the freezer, the second super, super easy way that we save ours is we actually dry them on our dehydrator. You don't have to have a dehydrator to do this. You can do it in your oven, but honestly, I think it's worth going to a thrift shop or even buying a brand new one for $25 to $30, because this is how we save so much goodness from our orchard and our garden, because it doesn't take up very much space once it's dehydrated. So when they're small, little tiny tomatoes, these spoon tomatoes, I just put them directly onto the dehydrator tray. They'll dry just like that. Once they get to the cherry-sized tomato, though, I like to cut them in half or larger. Anything bigger, cherry size or above, you want to cut it in half so that it's easier for the moisture to get out of the tomato. Once you cut it in half, I put the skin side down so that the tomato, like the inside part that you cut, is facing up. I'm going to fill this entire tray, and then it's going to go on to the dehydrator. I set it to 125 degrees. And for the cherry-sized tomatoes, it usually takes 3 to 4 hours for the dehydrator to get these to the point that they are dried enough that I can put them into storage. And I either put these into storage bags and it goes into the freezer. They can go into mason jars. They will keep for a very, very long time in the like on just like a cupboard shelf in a mason jar. If you put them in the fridge, they'll last for months and months. In the freezer, they can last for several years. And then when we want to use them, I simply take it out of the freezer, throw them in a bowl with hot water, and it reconstitutes them. And you can chop them up to put them on pizzas. You can throw them into salads. I make different vinaigrettes, or like I'll use my immersion blender and make a sun-dried tomato sauce for pasta. They're so versatile and they take very, very little space. So go get a dehydrator. Now, the last very easy way, this I would say is the hardest of them all, but it's still not very hard, is I fill trays with chopped up tomatoes, onions, garlic, fresh oregano, fresh basil, fresh thyme, and I roast it in the oven at 400 degrees until the entire mixture has cooked down, it's gotten concentrated, and this then goes into storage bags and into the freezer, because this now takes up less space than just whole frozen tomatoes. So it's a little bit better on the freezer because you're not taking as much space, and it's already cooked down, ready to go into different sauces, ready to go. Like sometimes I will just take it out and I puree it and then we use it on our pizza. It's so versatile and it's all cooked and ready to go. So those are our favorite ways to save all of the tomato goodness from the garden. Lots more tomato tips to come. We love sharing our recipes with you. We're so glad when we get to invite you into our kitchen and into our garden and into our life, because this is the beauty of doing life together. We get to share all the tips and tricks that we've learned along the way, but also we get to encourage you to fill your table with joy. So come hang out with us. Make sourdough. Oh my goodness, the roasted tomato mixture spread on a fresh slice of sourdough. So delicious. So many links down in the description below for the tools that we're using, links to our favorite recipes, links to how to make sourdough. So click the more button below, come hang out with us, and cheers to all the goodness of life together.